I meet the most interesting people in the world right here on Duval Street.
And then there's me.
Yeah, well, there is you. But I sit here every night and every day, and I talk to the rock stars, the heroes,
right,
and the gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you.
Okay, what am I doing here?
Boxes. You check all 3 boxes. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to introduce you to the world and let everybody get to know you.
Okay, great. Okay.
And they can decide what boxes to check.
Excellent.
So what is your name and where you're from, John?
Everybody wants to sit with Kit.
My name is John Timura. I've been a resident of the Florida Keys for 30 years now.
30 years?
30 years,
Holy
yes.
Shit.
Mostly Islamorada. That's where my house is.
Mostly
Islamorada, but in Key West quite a bit over the last couple of years.
Yeah, you've been all over up and down Duval Street the last couple of years.
It's been pretty crazy. It's been an interesting couple of years for sure. A lot of fun.
So bring everybody up to right now, currently, what are you doing?
Okay, so I'm responsible for a group of stores in Key West called the Greene House.
The Greene House.
That's
3 E's.
We spell it like that. You know why?
Just
you can't smile or can't say it without smiling, and that's what we do. Yeah. So you want to talk about checking off boxes? We can check off boxes for Euphoria. We can check off, things for sleepy time, sexy time. You better believe it. Yeah. So we're big box checkers.
So how many stores do you have now?
We have a total of 10 stores.
All in the Keys?
No, we have 7 of them in the Keys.
Okay.
And we have 3 over in Collier County, over in Naples and Marco Island now as well.
Wow.
So, it's starting to become a thing.
Man, you are, and this has all happened, what, in 3 years?
Yeah. Actually, I started the first one about 5 years ago up in Key Largo. That was store number 1. Store number 2 opened in Key West on February, on 2/2 of 24. It'll be 2 years exactly that we've been in Key West.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so seems like a long time. And people, it's funny when you talk to people, they're like, wow, you guys have been around forever. Well, I guess forever is 2 years down here in Key West,
all the time people tell me, Kid, I stopped drinking. I haven't drank for a year.
Right.
It's like, well, I thought I saw you trash last Saturday night.
That was Saturday night of last year.
Well,
right.
But it feels like a year.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I get it. Duval Street years are different than other years. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
That's without a doubt.
Yeah.
Hey, John, I just want to point out.
It's the vortex that does it,
And we've got a bunch of pirates.
It time.
Yeah, it does. And I tell people, I've been here since 85. That's like 3 lifetimes ago.
That's insane. Wow. Have you seen some cool stuff? Wow.
Some not so cool and some really cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. The evolution. I started coming here in the '80s too, and it's definitely not what it used to be for sure. But
no.
In a few ways it's better. In other ways it's it's diverted from its original funky little core.
Yep.
We try to bring the funkiness back to Key West.
Right.
We liven it up with we try to be funny. We're in the weed business. The Greene House is a chain of dispensaries.
Yeah.
And we don't sell Delta 8, we don't sell CBD, we don't sell any of that gas station weak stuff. We actually sell products that are stronger than what you can get with a medical card in the state of Florida.
Really?
Believe it or not, yeah. And it's a huge misnomer when people walk by our stores, and we still get laughed at, believe it or not. People think that they don't come in, they don't realize that we're not selling Delta 8 like some gas station down the street or whatever.
Right.
We have things that are beginner, intermediate, or advanced, for the dabbers. We sell dabs. We sell the high test stuff for people that have super high tolerances, or maybe they just want to go outside of the solar system.
It's all beyond me. I don't know much about it.
That's
I really
okay.
Don't.
Yeah, that's all right.
I really don't.
Most people don't, and when you start talking to them about the science part of it,
right,
their eyes start getting fuzzy, and they're Well, there's THC. Okay, so THC is, there are several different types of THC, but we specialize in the type of THC that's psychoactive. It gets you high. It also, we have variations of it that'll help you sleep. When we ask, when customers come into our store, they typically want to go in one of 3 directions: up, down, or sideways. Up means energetic. They want to dance their ass off and have a blast in Key West.
I did learn that there's indica.
Couch, yes.
Yeah.
Sativa, social.
Yeah.
And, if you speak for our Spanish-speaking audience, Indicama. Cama means bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got a coma.
I learned a lot of different things, doing this. A lot. It's crazy.
I kind of stopped smoking weed like 20 plus years ago.
Okay.
So when all this started coming around, the generations of all this stuff.
Right.
I'm like, yeah.
Let me guess, probation?
Arrive on vacation, leave on probation.
Oh, you're still here. Okay, cool.
I've still got time.
I'm sorry for diverting. So you were saying you stopped about 20 years ago?
Probably. Well, actually, you know what it was? My wife had a 5-year-old.
Right.
He got into school, was in school, and I just didn't want to be hypocritical about it.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm just going to stop. I don't need to smoke it anymore.
Right.
And so I just kind of stopped for that reason, really, and that was it.
Okay.
And he was an ADH kid.
Mm-hmm.
And found out about the 9th grade that weed made him normal.
It's amazing, yeah.
Just mellowed him out, changed him so much. It was just great for him.
Yep.
And, I get it. It's a medicine.
Oh, yeah, that's actually how, my wife actually has the Florida Keys Cannabis Clinics. So she has three doctors' offices here in the Keys, one in Key West, Marathon, and then in Tavernier as well. And that's how I got started into this. I actually opened up it was a CBD business back then to support hers, but it was amazing to see the lives that were changing as a result of just switching from pharmaceuticals that really solved nothing, and give you all kinds of horrible symptoms or side effects or whatever, to a natural plant that was put on this earth for many, many reasons. It's been used historically. I mean, everybody knows the history of cannabis. It was in half of our medicine before the 1930s when John Rockefeller took over basically created room for the pharmaceutical industry by making cannabis illegal.
Right.
Yeah. So it happens, but so getting back to what you said though, so it's interesting that you brought up hypocritical because we were grown. See, I am a child of the 80s. I was born, in 1970. I was told just say no.
Right.
It's the entrance drug. It's the gateway drug. Well, first of all, it's not even a drug. It's a freaking vegetable. Okay.
Wow. Eat your vegetables, huh?
Eat your vegetables. That's what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah, Nancy.
Yeah, exactly. So we were lied to about it for an entire generation. We were afraid of it. We thought that we were going to end up on Skid Row if we started smoking it. It was going to lead to this addiction, that addiction. For most of our customers and many of my wife's patients, it's the exit. I don't even like to use the word drug. I'm sorry. I just won't even acknowledge that. Okay, but we'll just say it's a drug. It's not a gateway drug. It's an exit drug.
Right. Well, so I'm a decade ahead of you. So I started smoking in the 60s when I was way too young. And I smoked for years, and I could see some things where sometimes it might make you unproductive.
Right. Sure.
But that was in the 60s and 70s. Now there's weeds that will make you productive.
Right.
Now that we've understood it, we've allowed our world to evolve and develop.
Right.
We learned that we can use it for a lot of things.
Well, back in the 60s, you were buying like ditchweed with seeds in it and everything else, right?
Yeah, you put it on the speaker.
Yeah.
And you let it vibrate around.
Perfect. Yeah.
And
make sure you got all the seeds out so it doesn't blow the side out of your joint,
we had songs about seeds and stems.
Absolutely.
Smoking the seeds and stems, and you knew you were at the bottom of your bag when you were down to the seeds and stems.
Well, imagine just like, taking a jar of pills and, you intend to go to sleep, but you don't know what's in the jar. You just take a pill, right? Well, that's pretty much what you were doing with your weed all through the 60s.
Yeah.
It's funny because we have people coming into our store every day. And we'll ask, do you want indica, sativa, or hybrid? And they'll be like, huh?
Yeah.
This is after they told us they've been smoking blunts for 25 years, okay? They have no idea what they're smoking because it's whatever the dude has in the bag.
Right.
And that's it. So, it might make
that level, it's going good.
Right.
The
results are predictable now.
You couldn't wait for that guy that had the Acapulco Gold.
Right.
Or the Tight Stick.
Yeah.
It's like, he got some Tight Stick. I'm going to wait and save my money for that.
Right, yeah.
But you still really didn't.
And back then, a dime bag actually had something in it,
Right, it was a dime bag. 1 finger, 2 finger, 3 finger bag.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But it's changed a lot, and I know that, we realize
commercialized.
It's, I hate to say that, really. We don't like the corporate weed either. It became commercialized through the medical program and so on, and you get these big corporations with these visions of delusions of grandeur.
Fuck up everything.
What happened? Oh yeah. Well, absolutely. We can say that on here.
Yeah, I can.
Fuck yeah. All right, good. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but anyways, so yeah, there's corporate weed, and then there's like the stuff that people actually curate and they care for, and so on. And there's a big difference. And there's so many limitations with what you can get in, with a medical marijuana license in Florida. It's limited. The strength is limited. We actually have things right across the street. We have a sativa that's 35.4%. It's called Super Booth.
Wow.
And that's really hot. That's way stronger than most, we wouldn't recommend that to a newbie, but for somebody that wants like a really, really strong head high, we'd recommend the Super Booth. And
it's called Super what?
Super Booth, B-O-O-F.
Super Booth.
Yep.
Wow.
It's actually got a picture of Reggae Lou on it.
Reggae Lou.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Endorsed by Reggae Lou. We're going to start putting local reggae artists on our flower cans, kind of like Wheaties does with cereal boxes,
Nice.
with Olympic athletes. So
Hey, why not?
just makes it more interesting.
Sure.
But it's the local leaf,
Yeah.
okay? And it's sold by people who live here, who care. And what's crazy about our products is if you go to every single one of our stores, if we make a bad recommendation to you and it doesn't do what we say it's going to do, we have a 100% money back guarantee.
Okay.
We're not always perfect with our recommendations. Sometimes we miss the top spot from time to time, but we don't want anybody to feel disappointed or burned. So we'll either give them their money back if that's what they insist, or we'll switch it over to a different product and ask maybe a few more questions about what their objectives were when they bought it.
You have a lot of product.
We do, yeah.
Getting it from all over America? Or is it coming out of Canada?
No, it's all United States. Everything we do is USA.
From anywhere else?
No. Well, it could.
Legally, law-wise?
Oh, from outside of the country? No, absolutely not.
So everything you're getting is produced in America.
In the United States, yes.
Where's most of it coming from?
The flour is going to be coming from Oregon and Wyoming.
Okay.
The gummies come from a variety of sources, but Wisconsin, a little bit of Illinois, a little bit of Missouri, a lot of Florida. We buy a lot of it in-state. That's for all of our edibles. And then when you go into the vapes are typically, those are mostly West Coast products.
So what's the
they had a 10-year head start on us over there.
They do.
Yeah. So
the difference between your stuff and what the guy down the street selling you from the backpack.
Right.
What's the biggest difference?
It's legal. You won't get arrested if you have it. Yeah.
So how do the cops know?
If you have your container, if you pick something up at the greenhouse and you still have the container, it's pretty easy. All of our stuff. We double check the legality of everything. That's why we have these stores in all of these prominent locations and so on. But if you were to look at it flower to flower, you wouldn't notice any difference at all. Absolutely not. And
what is the difference?
The difference is the amount of THC in the plant of Delta 9 THC in the plant while it's alive.
Yeah.
That's the only difference, okay? There are other ingredients that become Delta 9 THC after you add fire to them, and that's the secret sauce, and there's no limit on the percentage that you can do with that. And I don't want to give away all of our secrets or get too scientific because again, we're probably losing people right now.
No.
But the difference is, we have a really, really good legal staff.
Right.
We have really good product development team, and we build, we find products or we grow products that fit the letter of the law, but still have strong effects that people are looking for.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So
what did you do before this?
I sold things on Amazon for about 5 years.
Okay.
And then prior to that, I was in the T-shirt business for about 25 years. I actually sold T-shirts to college fraternities and sororities all over the country, and I did that for Isla Mirada. So, yeah.
And your wife's the smart one?
My wife is definitely the smart one. That's why I got her to marry me after only knowing me 2 months. I had to trick her quick.
Wow.
Yeah, if she any more time, she would have figured it out. I would have been,
Yeah.
But yeah, my wife is absolutely, yeah. I don't know. I love my wife. I love you, Tracy, and you are amazing. And she is brilliant, and she takes care of a lot of really amazing people, in the Florida Keys. I think between her and her business partner, Dr. San, they've got thousands of patients, and it's amazing. It's all protected by HIPAA law, so I can't tell you who or anything like that, but there are a lot of people that you might know that are patients over there. And the biggest thing that we notice because I help her out with her clinic as well, or was helping her develop it. She's been doing this for about 6 years now, but you notice the color returning to their face after 7 months, and the new lease on life, the new boyfriend, the new girlfriend, the new ambitions, the new hobbies, the new everything.
She's on the medical side.
She is, yes.
Of the cannabis.
Right.
And you're on the
We're on the recreational side.
Side
of cannabis.
Of cannabis.
Yeah. Yep. And it's the two kind of overlap with Florida residents because, as a Florida resident, you're the only person that can go into it or get a medical card and go into a dispensary. So what do you do with everybody else that's down here that they might even have a medical card in Missouri or Illinois or Michigan where they come from or whatever, but you can't even set foot into the store, into a dispensary in Florida without having a Florida medical marijuana card.
Kind of weird.
But Florida is kind of weird. They like their pharmaceutical companies, you know?
Well, every state's different. Look, it's taken us since 1930 to get to back to this point.
Yeah, you better believe it. Yeah.
I mean, there was a whole war on drugs for damn 50 years.
Right.
And thousands of people have been incarcerated for years. They've wasted years.
Absolutely.
Of their life.
Right.
For smoking, carrying.
Some of my really good friends are the guys that were high up in the DEA too. I mean, the liaison to Washington D.C.,
right.
The guy that ran it down here in the Keys. Another friend of mine who's passed away, Ken Davis, was regional as well.
So what do they think of what you're doing now?
They are so happy, and they really are. They're just so happy to see the cat out of the bag. It's relief more than anything else.
Yeah, right. Somewhere I think around the turn of the century, even law enforcement was at the point where they were like, it's overwhelming.
Right.
It's pointless.
Right.
I mean, you rarely do you see anybody high on weed causing problems.
Oh no, absolutely not.
It's alcohol or it's some other drug.
Right. Right.
It's rarely is it the guy smoking a joint.
Now, there's a thing that they don't talk about with all of these, mass shootings and stuff like that, and that is the most of them. The one thing that most of them have in common is prescription drugs.
Prescription drugs.
Yeah.
They all have some underlying mental issue.
Right.
And they're all on some kind of schizophrenia, something.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It really is.
Here's another interesting little thing. So, a lot of our customers at the greenhouse are concealed carry people, or they're they're gun people. Okay,
Yep.
and they're afraid that if they sign off on a certain box or whatever,
card,
yep, exactly. But
they're going to lose it.
Actually, that's not true. Here's why.
Well, it was a thought when it first came along.
Right.
When Florida first went medical.
It's a thought that stayed a thought,
right.
And I know that Nikki Freed was the commissioner of agriculture before the current one that we have.
Right.
She ran the medical marijuana program. She also ran the concealed carry program.
Okay.
She had cards for both.
Okay.
Okay. My business partner, Dr. San, has cards for both.
Right.
Okay. So it is a big misnomer, but I understand and respect the desire of people to keep government out of their business, and I agree with that.
That's probably 50%.
That's more than 50%. So that's the driver. And for them, you can come straight into our store. Hey, if you have a hard time sleeping,
right,
we've got something. We've got lullaby gummies that will help you go to sleep, no problem at all. And it's nobody else's business. Nobody else needs to know that you're buying these products.
Yep.
And and you're able to do it as long as you have a working credit card and you're 21 or over. So
a working credit card, huh?
Well, actually, we take credit cards. Yeah.
Do you take cash?
We do. Of course, we take cash.
Still take cash?
Sure.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Still trying to get qualified for a card?
Yeah, I thought graduating from college I'd get one, but yeah, they're still holding out.
It's a racket. Eventually. It's a racket, anyways.
Yeah, who wants them in your life?
Yeah,
they're as bad as the government, maybe worse.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was a shocker when we showed up. There are a lot of other stores that are up and down Duval Street that kind of have the appearance of trying to sell products, but they're, if you go into those stores and you start asking questions about the products in there, what you're going to find is that most of the people have no clue what they do or how they work. Right. Or what effects that they have, because most of them aren't even users of the product, some of them for religious reasons.
Sure.
And so it's really hard to get expert advice from somebody who's not an expert. And that's where we stand apart from everybody else, is that we have 40-some people working in our stores who are highly trained, who ask the right questions, who guide you through the process.
What kind of training do you do with your staff?
Well, we do a lot of scenarios. We do a lot of like, you know,
okay,
a lot of, you know, I mean, we try to like come up with different categories that people fit into when they walk in the store, and you know, we match the products up with those categories, and it makes a big difference in simplifying it, because when you walk into our store, you're blown away. You're like, oh my God, how in the world am I going to choose?
It does help
from all of this stuff.
Yeah, it does help.
Right.
I bought weed in a store one time in Amsterdam.
Yep.
And I hadn't smoked in years, and they were pretty good with me, but I could tell they were a little bit annoyed.
Right.
Like you don't smoke. You're one of those. You just want to do it because it's legal.
Right.
I was like, well, kind of, yeah. And I haven't smoked in a long time, so I'd like something that tastes good and makes me happy and energetic. But I don't, I don't want to be drooling in the corner.
What you needed was just a little toot of Amsterdam sativa, and no more than just a toot, just a little bit.
Probably.
Yeah, and that would have been absolutely perfect. It would have you would have been on a lifted, elevated plane the rest of the day. But you probably had too much, didn't you?
No, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I was surprised that after years of not smoking, that I didn't get blown away. Because I went somewhere in the middle range.
Right.
They had some African ragweed that just looked like dog fennel.
Right.
I mean, what we would smoke when we were kids.
Yeah.
And then they had some stuff that just looked like syrup, gummy. There was little bits of weed in there, but it looked so much tar in it.
Right. Hash, basically.
Like, oh man, I don't know if I want that.
Yeah.
So I buy enough every day that I could roll a couple of joints.
Right.
And so I experimented with a couple of different flavors and a couple of different ones just because I wanted to do it.
Right.
And I was surprised, like I said, that I didn't just get my socks blown off and just, but it was great.
Right. Right.
And part of that was because I was scared, because nowadays, all the weed is just stronger.
Well,
are we hear that it's stronger? They talk about it.
It can be made stronger, and one of the things that they did was, like, if you look at places like California and Colorado, stuff like that, they really cater to the expert advanced level users,
Connoisseur.
Right. Well, if you get on a big if you're 4 years old and you get on top of a 10-speed bike with no training wheels, you're going to fall, right? I mean, that's just the way it is.
Or you're going to take off.
Right.
Become Lance Armstrong.
So it's really important to make recommendations that are within the ability range of the person, or the tolerance range of the person. And so we get to know every single person that comes in the store.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, being that I'm a novice now, when I go in, I don't want to be led off on a path that is not what I want.
No.
So that's great. The staff is trained and knows what they're doing.
Oh yeah. We take what we do very seriously, but we also have more fun than any other store in town. I promise you that.
Wow.
We get the coolest customers. They come in. They're so relieved. They're so relieved that they can come in and get relief. I mean, they thought they were doing a week without it, or unless they buy it from the dude behind the tree somewhere, right? But we all know what's going on there. We actually serve a really important purpose in town, because we can provide flour that's safe, that you can smoke, that's not laced with fentanyl.
Right.
I mean, there's that. And
so
we really have an amazing relationship with all of the law enforcement in every town that we are too. We're in 8 different towns now. Right. And we're one, in the same with law enforcement. We're on we've got each other's back, we're on each other's side.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
Well, that helps out a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, but there again, the culture on this, the culture has changed so much now that law enforcement, they don't want to have to deal with that.
I've got a funny story, actually.
So
we had an incident at the Front Street store about a year ago, and we have video cameras everywhere and so on. So I'm in the store with the police officer. I forget his name, but I still recognize him. And he's like, we're looking at the video and stuff like that. And underneath the showcase, you've got all these Fruity Pebbles cereal bars, chocolate bars, stuff like that. And he's like, one of these days this stuff will all be legal. And I'm like, what did you just say?
This is the day.
You're a police officer in my store. Of course it's legal.
I'm going to pull the Melfish on you. Today's the day. It is legal.
But we have funny things like that. Not always with law enforcement. We have funny stories, funny experiences, cool people coming in every single day.
I bet you do.
It was the Jack Black from, he doesn't mind us using, because he let us put his picture, but you know who Jack Black is. He was in our Key Largo store about 6 months ago.
Right.
Twice in one day, actually. He likes the gummies.
You know,
so you just never know who's going to. We don't kiss and tell otherwise, but Jack was a person who said yes. You can say we were there.
You know, I have a lot of friends that they love the gummies.
Yeah.
They just don't want to smoke it.
Right.
And they like the gummies.
Here's a pro tip with edibles, okay, for everybody that's out there paying attention. It takes 2 hours for an edible to hit its peak effect in your body.
2 hours?
2 hours.
Right.
It has to go through your digestive system, through all your pipes, your tubes, and stuff like that, then finally into your bloodstream. What do most people do? They eat that brownie or they eat that edible.
Nothing happened.
15 minutes later, hey, what's going on? 15 minutes later, nothing's happened.
Yeah.
So they have another one.
Yeah.
15 minutes later, nothing happens.
Yeah.
They have another one. Then all of a sudden, boom. We call it gummy compression syndrome.
Gummy compression? Because they're wadded up on the floor like a piece of paper?
So you want another pro tip?
Yeah.
Okay, so
another pro tip here.
CBD
is
the anti-venom for THC.
Oh, okay.
So if you are like cowering naked in the corner of your bathroom in a cold sweat, convinced that aliens are going to kidnap you.
Right.
I don't know where I just came up with that example. Maybe it happened. No idea how much THC is in those brownies.
Right.
Always treat those with caution. I don't know why people think it's funny to make super strong edibles and overdose their friends and scare the living shit out of them for the rest of their life with regards to this product.
I was never a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was an old weed smoker. I wanted to roll the joint. I wanted to smoke it.
Yeah, and you were smoking 15% back in the day.
Probably.
You know, I mean, that was it. You know,
I had no idea.
Hey, there was a lot of really good music and a lot of really good concerts and a lot of really good ideas that were spawned by that. You know, we'd have a hell of a lot more of them if it weren't for pharmaceuticals.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Elvis, Janis, Hendrix, John Bonham, Bon Scott. You know, those are just the old ones. You know, look at what's happening now. You've got Prince, Tom Petty.
Yeah.
You know, just it's unbelievable what you know. I mean, weed gives us the music. Cannabis, THC gives us the music. It's the damn drugs that take it away from us.
Right.
And ends careers way too shortly. So, you know, you take a look at the Rolling Stones. You know, some of those guys are freaks of nature. You know, you wonder, but I'm going to bet that most of the ones that are alive, Willie Nelson, he's coming back, 100 years old, right? Smokes every day, right?
Hey, look, we got Rock Island coming up. We got
I cannot
Stone
wait.
Temple Pilots.
Yes.
And Scott died of an overdose.
Yep.
You know, I mean.
Yep. It happened. I mean, it happened to everybody, and everybody's got that story. But we're here to end those stories. We want to heal people. We want to lift people up. We want to make this world better.
Yep.
And we're doing it one customer at a time, and it's really amazing.
One customer at a time. And so you've got some stuff coming out. Social media stuff coming out.
Okay.
That you've been working on.
Oh, we're always working on different things. You know, one of the funnest things about this is the marketing part.
Yeah.
That's actually my bomb and my passion.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you're in the weed business, people don't really expect much of you. And you don't have to be too formal or too serious or too normal or whatever.
Yeah.
You can do all kinds of stuff. So I had 3 resolutions last year at the beginning of the year. And that was to, well, you know, 2 of them were personal. 180 nights of live music. I'm a big live music fan.
Okay.
90 days on the water. I love to fish. That's what brought me down here in the first place. And the funniest radio commercials.
All right.
And I was told that we did that last year, but we're always trying to up the ante and always come up with better stuff.
So this is the 10th or 11th. Today's the 11th.
Today is the 11th, yeah. I've added one more to that this year.
Okay.
That I realized later I probably achieved last year, but 1 million smiles is what I wanted to achieve by the beginning of this year. But the more I think about it, with all the vans and all the marketing and all the radio commercials, we did that last year.
That's a lot.
So we're going for 5 million.
5 million.
5 million smiles this year.
5 million?
Yeah.
That's
we'll make this place better.
A lot of smiles. 5 million smiles. That's a lot. So, how many live venues have you been to?
Oh, you know,
This year.
This year? You mean last year?
Okay,
My
year.
God. Well, I did most of them down here. The highlight of last year was Power Trip in Indio, California, Palm Springs.
Oh, yeah.
That was Iron Maiden, Judas Priest.
Yeah.
AC/DC, Metallica, Tool.
That was a big one.
It was big.
It
was
a
big.
one.
3 nights of just banging, amazing music, and it was really good. That was my favorite. Rock Island Fest is my favorite down here.
It's great.
I've got diamond seats this year. I will be right in front of that stage, raging for 4 nights.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
We will rock together.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know how many nights. I'll be there every night. I don't know how many bands I'll see.
Right.
Our shift changes at 7, and I try to be there immediately after.
All right, great. Okay.
So I catch at least 2 or 3 bands every night.
They're amazing. Awesome. They do an amazing, the guys that run that event, guys and girls that run that event just do an amazing job at just like getting the bands in here and picking what people are looking for. And it's on top of my list for every year. It's a great way to kick it off. Yeah.
So how many days on the water did you spend?
Oh, God. It was well over 90. I crushed it last year.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
So this year so far, we're day 11. How many live venues have you been to?
I've seen probably 6.
6 and 11 days?
Yep, 6 and 11 days.
You got to do 180?
Yeah.
I think you'll do that.
I like my chances there.
How about the water?
Water, I fished yesterday. That was my first day on the water this year. That's okay because I do, my drug of choice is tarpon season. I fly fish for tarpon.
Oh yeah.
So I'll be on my skiff, May, June, July. May, really, for all intents and purposes, about the first stable weather in April. But then it goes through May and June. I'm usually done by July 4th, even though it goes a month after that.
I never tarpon fish until a buddy of mine, Monster Mitch. Mitch Covington. Here is huge fisherman.
Right.
He moved here about 3 or 4 years ago. Mitch goes, man, I just love to fish. And he tells me in this early spring last year,
right,
why don't you come out tarpon fishing with me some night? And I'm like, some night?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah. And I go, you're on.
Right.
Because I never take the time in the daytime.
Right.
Everybody wants to go out for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And Mitch goes, oh man, just meet me over at the yacht club. We'll go out for a couple hours.
And jump a few fish, yeah.
He goes,
yep.
Absolutely fantastic. And I told him, I said, I'm saying it right now, Mitch, I'm going tarpon fishing with you this year. You better get your passion back on.
All right, there you go, cool.
So I want to do it. I want to do some tarpon fishing this year. I want to go out again.
I do mine during the daytime mostly. With a fly rod,
yeah.
Out on the Oceanside Flats, typically Islamorada through Long Key. That area is where I like to hang out. I know a bunch of spots up there, know a bunch of people up there, and awesome. It's just like old home week. But I also do a lot of cold water fishing. I do a lot of, last year I was in Alaska, Argentina, Brazil, Virginia, New York.
Fly fisherman?
Yes, all fly fishing.
All fly fishing?
Well, no, I'm not a connoisseur. I'm not a snob, though. I'll do anything. I'll throw gear. I like throwing spinning tackle. Yesterday we threw all spin, for snook in the backcountry.
Right.
Yeah.
I've never gone snook fishing.
Oh man, it's great. Come with me, we'll catch them.
Never done it.
Yeah.
I've got to do that too. I mean, I've only lived here more than half my life. You think I'd go?
Right. Yeah. It's a little bit different in Key West. Islamorada is the sport fishing capital of the world. I moved there on purpose when I was 24 years old. And chased my passion. Literally built businesses around what I wanted to do the rest of my life.
Which was fishing?
Which was fishing, yeah. Well, I never wanted to do it for a living because I was smart enough not to screw up my hobby by trying to make it a job. But it's always been a driver for me. Fish never live in ugly places. I've got to see some amazing ones.
That is an incredible statement right there.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I know 100 years ago I was on a flight to Rio.
Right.
And
100 years ago.
Yeah.
With the Wright brothers?
Yeah.
Nice.
And there was a bunch of Asians. And I'm like, started talking to them. They were flying into Rio for a couple nights, and then they were going on a fly fishing journey.
Right.
Where they were doing like 3 or 4 rivers in Brazil, and then over into Argentina, a couple places.
All right. Yep.
I mean, it was literally like a 3-week-long.
Right. I'm familiar with the beat. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's going to be a mixture.
They were all Japanese.
Right.
I mean, it was A trip, and there was probably 25 or 30 of them on the plane.
Right.
I was like, wow, who knew?
Now, when I was up in Alaska, I ran into a group of Argentinians that were doing the very same thing.
Yeah.
And we were on the Kenai River, where the Kenai and the Russian River, the confluence of those two rivers. That was pretty cool. So you meet people there, but these guys were from Argentina, and they knew about the lake that I took my dad to for his 80th birthday. It's called Jurassic Lake in the southern part of Argentina.
Wow.
And it is amazing. It's 48 degrees south latitude, so it is way down there. It's further south than the Canadian border is north.
Right.
Its average wind speed was around 40 miles an hour for the week.
Nice.
Peak wind speed was like 65. You're fishing on the edge of this lake, casting into some big wind with big flies, and it's cold. It's like 45 degrees every day too. So it was a neat experience, but a very welcome experience in October after the armpit hot freaking summer that we ended up having. With thankfully no storms.
Yeah,
so,
we did. We survived that.
Did real well. But
my fishing, I'm closing the shop Tuesday.
Yep.
And I'm taking my guys fishing.
Good. Okay.
I mean, because we never do it.
I think you should. Absolutely.
We live in a tourist town and we never do tourist things. So for Christmas, I told them, we're closing in January for one day.
Right.
I've chartered 2 sports fishermen.
Did you
really? We're
really?
going to go out and just troll around and probably eventually end up dropping the hook somewhere and catching something.
That's cool. I'm just going to check your weather for you really quick. Let's see what it looks like here.
All right, so what we got?
Drum roll, please.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah. It should be is that the 16th?
It's going to be out of the south in its mid-teens.
Oh, out of the south.
So you're going to want to be...
That's going to be those rolling nasty seas.
That's if you go offshore. That's if you go south. There are a lot of amazing things in the Gulf of Mexico that they hit here that where you'll be more protected from the wind and stuff like that. Heck, you can sit in the channels up there, drop chum in there, catch mackerel, snappers, groupers, all kinds of cool stuff. It'll be a blast. Yeah,
I'm excited about it. I'm gonna divide us up into 2 teams. Tim's gonna be with us.
Awesome. Okay.
I'm gonna divide us up into 2 teams and maybe do a little Calcutta.
Nice.
And just have fun with it.
That's beautiful, man. Well, good. I'm glad that you're doing that. Yeah, it's.
We never fish. We never go fishing anymore.
We need reminders as residents of the Keys,
yes,
of why we live here. And I know it's easier for some than others to get out and do all that stuff, but there are shorelines. There's some amazing beaches, right here in Key West. But I hope you guys catch a ton of fish and have an absolute blast. But thanks for doing that.
I just hope we catch dinner.
Oh, you will.
That's all I'm really looking for.
Yeah.
Go back to my house and have dinner.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny how you bring that up, and it's like I have so many people that I catch so many fish during the year that it's like, can you imagine what my freezer would look like? I'd need a semi truck for a freezer. If I kept all those things. Right. I don't even give much away. I keep enough for a couple of meals. Right. That's it. Right. Everything else gets thrown back. When I fish in the backcountry, nothing gets kept. I never get that cooler dirty.
I'm notorious for that. I haven't gone out much lately, but back when I was going out, I would charter a boat and we'd go out, and the wife gets up on the front and she just wants to be in the sun. Yeah. I want to catch something big or something fun. I want one for dinner and then I'm done.
Yep. Perfect.
And I would always tell them, I go, oh yeah, that's enough for dinner. I'm ready to go. Right. They're like, well, you paid for a whole day. And I'm like, do you mind going back early? Like, no. I'm like, oh, I don't need any more. They go, it's not fresh fish when it's in the freezer.
No, that's for sure.
And I don't mind having some in the freezer.
Right.
But I don't need 75 pounds of it.
No, you definitely don't. Those fish need to be in the water making other fish, know? Right,
it's for sure. I just need dinner and enough for one freezer, and that's good.
Unless you've got a lot of friends, if you catch a lot of fish, sometimes you have a lot of friends.
I don't blame anybody for doing that. No. But I'm just going to catch 75 fish and keep them.
We just don't want to be like, we have a dog at home, and when we leave him at home, we play movies for him. So I watched the opening of the Lorax the other day. Okay. The Dr. Seuss movie, and it was just like, I looked at the Lorax, the beginning of the Lorax, and I'm like, wow. It's a song about like a town with no trees and how everything's whitewashed and clean and stuff like that. And the only trees that they have are plastic ones that are made in factories or whatever. I'm like, sadly, that's starting to sound like our coral reef down here.
Yeah.
And, and it's not funny. And it's really, it's really a sad thing when you think about what it looks like now versus what it used to look like.
Right.
And how it happened on our watch. Millions of years of evolution were killed by, pesticides, glyphosate, fertilizers, all that crazy stuff, and it's crazy. But it is important to get out there and check it all out and enjoy it for what it is. And when people come into town from somewhere else, they see pretty colored fish on the bottom. They don't realize that bottom used to be covered with, totally covered with pretty corals and stuff like that. But I don't know how we got on that topic.
I'm glad I learned to dive when I first came here.
No kidding, me too. That was one of the main reasons I came here as well.
I got all my diving done between 85 and 89.
Back when sex was safe and diving was dangerous.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Well, hey, I know I've taken up all of your night.
Oh, no, I'm going to go to a grand reopening party for a friend of mine's place over the Coast Guard station tonight. It's Miriam. Her business is called Key West Soaps. And I'm going to go hang out with Miriam and
over the Coast Guard.
Yeah, over at the Coast Guard building. So I'm going to go hang out with her for a little bit and see what else is going on in Key West. Say hi to the people in our stores and so on. But
thank you for taking some time to sit and talk to me. And I'm going to ask you one last question.
Fire away.
And then we can go do our thing.
Okay.
So my last question for you is, if you were a pizza, what kind of pizza would you be?
Double pepperoni.
Double pepperoni.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, because you are what you eat.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
Why not?
And I love the spicy pepperoni.
Bam.
Yeah.
You got it.
Done.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. This is why I remind everybody to subscribe to our channel, like it, share it, all those other good things. That's all we have for now. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a good night.